Recently, I've been asking myself, why don't I just keep one notebook? I've been thinking about that for a while, about how I've been juggling one, two, three, four, five, six, seven journals. And that doesn't even include any of my sketchbooks or any of my note taking journals or notebooks. And it made me think, like, do I really need to have all of these? I've been journaling for a while, but last year was the year that I actually decided to have more than one journal for specific or separate purposes. And I already had started doing multiple journaling when I first started these two. I don't think I've ever mentioned these on my channel, but if you look at my old videos, I have this book right here, which let me show you. It was basically one of my first journals. This is a lavender brand. This one, it was more of a like self-reflection type of journal. This type of journal, I would document myself, how I felt, what I was thinking, reflections of myself, reflections of me and my daughter, or different styles that I was into at that time. Actually, don't even have it completed. I think this is a dotted journal. Yeah, it's a dotted journal. So the last one that I did was probably last year. Let me see. Oof, 2 years ago, actually. This was my last, supposed to be a drawing of me, my last piece inside this notebook. And then after that, it's just a whole bunch of blank paper. So you can tell, like, I kind of abandoned this one. And then this one was supposed to be my quotes journal, which is also a lavender journal book. And I would just like write down the quotes that really appealed to me at that time. And then also the same thing, I even wrote down stuff for music. And then I think that was it. And then I think the last drawing on here was a recent one that I just did in on June. So this one is I was trying to do like an affirmation. Let me affirm, let me like work the universe magic to help me gain income, and it kind of came through. But this is say like the world works in miraculous ways. So let's just say that. But anyway, so going back to the journals, like these are ones that I started like many years ago. I think I might even have a date when I started this one, or maybe not. I should have dated it. Oh yeah, look, this one was the earliest one, 4/19/2020. So this was during the pandemic. So I think I started this one also during the pandemic, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, even before the pandemic, 12/1/2019. So that's how long I've actually started like drawing journaling, or like just keeping track of my art, trying to get back into journaling, a different type of style. So anyways, that's really where I started from. Last year was the first year that I actually decided to go ahead and start different journals because I wanted to separate them, and I just wanted to have them like subject based. Kind of like, when you're in school, you have different subjects, so you might have like a separate part of your binder or a separate notebook for each class. Well, that can be a lot to juggle, right? So I went ahead and bought a couple of notebooks. I just repurposed some of them that were already used. I know my Commonplace book, I really just, this is more like a Vizil Badoni because the Commonplace books are usually a little bit more organized. And this one is not. My sketch journal, which is basically like all sketches of things that I do with my life. Oops. And I started this one in 2025. And of course, like it doesn't get much love. So I'll go more into detail about them. And then also my art journal, which is art journal slash collage journal. This is so thick. You can tell it's starting to get more bulky as I add more things to it. And then there's also my reading journal. So I just wanted to briefly talk about them because I feel like I've have all these books, and I'm sure you have this issue too if you're the type of person that also has multiple journals. And you kind of think to yourself sometimes like, should I consolidate them and put them into one? Or should I just keep them as is? And this is something that I wanted just to review with y'all so y'all can see like exactly what I'm looking at and what I'm thinking, because I like it, but is it like Is it like another chore? Does it feel like another chore to be able to catch up to another book? Like, it's just some thoughts that I've been having, and I just wanted to talk to you guys about it. So let's get started. All right, let's start with the most used book this year. So I started this specific art journal last year, I believe. Yeah, so I have 2025. The first entry is dated for, let's see, what was the first entry? January 17, 2025. And as you can see, this book is almost halfway done. So this is actually my most used book. Last year, when I started getting into wanting to do more art journaling, my whole purpose was to basically, like, besides my swatch book, I think you guys have seen my swatch book in other videos. My swatch book, yes, it gets used a lot, but it doesn't get used a lot. It only gets used when I have to swatch products or supplies. But here, like, this is actually where I actually try to experiment with different things and just play around with any of the supplies that I purchase. So anyways, when I was looking at this book, I'm like, okay, so it's been like almost a whole year of me making different types of doodles, putting like other art that I did somewhere else. I just placed them in here. Started doing collaging last year. You can see here I started doing some collaging in March of 25th of 2025. Kind of going over like layering different types of mediums on top of other mediums, because I wanted to just start covering a lot of my pages with art. That's really what I was trying to do. And then on here you can see I was trying to play a little bit with collaging and trying to do a lot of, like, obviously affirmations, then starting getting into posting some of the art, not posting, but like gluing other things, specifically like flyers, drawing on top of flyers too. This is acrylic, playing with my acrylic. Same thing here, doing little patterns, working with tapes, just trying to cover up my entire book. So I can tell you this specific book has gotten a lot more attention as the time has gone by. I tend to go back and forth in pages. If I see something like this and I don't like it, I just go back and either glue things on top of it or add other additions to it. But yeah, this is something that I started thinking about, like, what is the most used book in my collection? And this has been the one that has really made me a lot more self-assured as an artist, and mostly like a journal collage artist. And I don't know, like gluing stuff, making things without having to really worry about the end result has been very liberating for me. So this is something that I feel like, okay, well, I want to really continue this. I really want to continue this journaling stuff. So this book, actually, my goal for this year, and I told myself to do this, is to finish this book. I'm going to try to finish this book. I'm almost there. I might work on it today or tomorrow. Just to finish parts of it that I feel like it may need touch-ups or like adding things or covering things. Like, this book is definitely the book that has given me a sense of purpose, meaning like I don't have to think about things too much. Anyway, so yeah, this is actually where I feel like the most of my creative attention has been at lately. And of course, when you focus on one thing more than another, gets neglected or slows down. So, but I don't want it to slow down for either of any of my books. So I was thinking to myself, like, is there a way for me to figure out what am I going to consolidate? What am I going to put together? Actually, like, make time for. I think that's really one of the biggest things in life, is figuring out, like, what is this? What is the end goal to all of this? And what am I going to do with these things? Like, for me, this is more like written history, obviously. Things that just come up intuitively, and without much thought. I started thinking about this whole topic of like juggling different types of journals and how maybe going forward at the beginning of August or September, I always find it more like it's my new year almost, where I try to figure out like how am I going to live the rest of the year, because obviously school starts. So for me, even though I'm not in school, having my kids in school kind of gives me like a fresh start. So I've tried to reflect on like what will be the books I really want to keep doing within the next couple of months up to the next couple of year to next year. So anyways, this is actually my most used book. I definitely am going to continue to use my art journal, hopefully to finish it. And then I will find out where I'm going to, I guess, continue that process. I have been thinking about what to do because I have drawings in here and I have collaging. And I kind of want to put the two together, but I haven't made up my mind yet. So I'm trying to think like, should I put them together or should I just keep my sketching and my journaling, my collage separate? It's something that I'm thinking about, but I know for sure that collaging has really allowed me to feel a lot more effortless in creating. And I definitely want to continue that. The next book that has gotten a little bit more attention has been my Zilbadoni / Commonplace journal. This specific notebook is like una salata de più erbe, a salad of many herbs. And what I like about this one is I was able to basically document everything on here, even like TV shows and notes from some books, quotes, ideas of things that I want to create, reviews of like shows and movies that I've seen, things of lists that I want to do, that I want to see, things that I saw online, places that I want to go visit, online stationery shops, like those kinds of things that will make me like want to do something. I even wrote book recommendations on social media. So things that I can pull from anywhere and everywhere. And I also have like reviews here. Then my little Frankenstein review here, my notes. This is before I switched over to my other notebook, which I will show you in a bit. I was doing initially notes from notebooks, from books that I read, but it ended up transforming into more like a documentation book about things that I watch or things that I'm consuming. So it's like a consuming journal. So I can't even talk. So I also did like reviews of TV shows that I like. I did one for Pursuit of Jade because I really liked it, and it kind of got me into looking for nostalgic about some old like wuxia. Or I said wuxia. I think it might be wuxia. C dramas that I like that I watched many years ago, like Eternal Love and Legend of Fuyao, which are one of my favorite. They're so long, but they're so much fun to watch, except some parts. But most of it is pretty fun. And then I also have a list here of animes. I can't show you the info, but you could probably see some here. I have some personal stuff here attached. I forgot to remove it before I filmed, but I have a list of all the animes that I have to watch. My friend wants me to recommend it, so I'm definitely going to check those out. And then recently I did like like on the 10th, I just did basically like a little spread for the manhwa. I've been reading the manhwa, Flowers Are Bait. I think, I don't know where I've been reading it at. Somewhere not a good place. Let's just say that much. You just Google it and it'll take you to different sites. Okay. But anyways, yeah, I did some cutouts of some of the art because I really like the manhwa art. And then I did a Spotify playlist to this web novel. I'm actually reading the web novel as well. And I really liked it. It's a little bit like badly translated, but it's not that bad. I'm able to comprehend it. I wrote out like the scenes. I kind of like the personality of the character. So, but I would definitely recommend if you listen to. Okay, just to give you an idea, like there's a couple of songs that I feel like this specific web novel or even the manhwa, like the main character, the male guy. This is a dark romance. The song by, where is it at? Did I put it on here? White Mustang. by Lana Del Rey. Like, if you listen to that song, that's technically that character. I wanted to just use my stickers, like my washi tapes, my other stickers, because it has a lot to do with flowers and nature. It's actually a really good drama to read. And that's where I'm at right now. I'm like halfway to it. So when I was thinking about my Commonplace book, I was like, well, I feel like I'm going to start merging this one with my reading journal. And the reason I say that is because initially when I first started making this journal book, I really felt like I was going to be able to read a lot because I was in that stage of reading. See, I started this in 2024. But when I started looking at everything that I'm like, I'm not even reading that much. Like, I really have a lot of space here. And then also too, like my book itself, there's like books that are still pending and I'm not going to have much room in here. So I already realized like, okay, once I finish this reading journal, more than likely, I'm not going to start another reading journal. I'm not. Because to me, like I realized like a lot of reading is basically like entertainment. And I was already doing that on this book. So I was like, well, I'm going to end up just combining all of these. And I'm not even going to call it a commonplace book when I go and finish these. My next book is going to be a combo of a reading journal, commonplace, and not even commonplace. It's going to be like a Zilbardoni, basically. I'm going to have anything and everything in there because I definitely feel like I can fill up a lot more pages if I just bundle a lot of things together. Kind of like subscription plans, right? When you get a subscription plan to some kind of like, TV app or something, so you just have a whole bunch of like different apps in one bundle price. So I think that's what I'm going to end up doing. So while I was thinking about this, I was like, well, maybe I can also do my quotes journal because I have quotes in here as well. So eventually these two, once they get done and this one gets done, these three are going to be combined as a Zilbardoni. I'm going to make it into a Zilbardoni. So that's definitely something that I think would be a better idea to do because it's nothing personal in here. It's all about like, well, it is my opinions about these books that I'm reading, but there's no like personal, intimate things here. No, there really isn't. These are just my reviews of the books that I read, and I just put pictures on here and stickers and like covers of the books that I read, like the book covers. And the more I think about it, like with even if you just journal, art, including art in here, it takes work. So I was like, well, I'm not as consistent as I really would love to be. So I'm going to go ahead and like just put them all in one. That way I'll know like at least one of them is to be completed. And that's what I feel like now with some of my journals is like, I want them completed. Like, to be quite honest, I want some of these to be completed. I want some of these to be full. And since they don't get a lot of attention, it's definitely been a little bit harder to get them to, what is it called? It's been hard to get them completed and have the energy to keep up with a lot of them. So this is actually one of the reasons why I decided, like, you know what, I'm going to probably start to combine a lot of these things together after I finish these first, obviously. And I think this is my most recent one. Next up is my, this is my notebook for any books that I read. So this one, in conjunction to this one, I was thinking of merging them together, but then I realized I don't want to because the majority of the books in here are fictional. These are all fictional books. And my information from this notebook is all notes from actual like experts, people that do research. Like my notes here when I did one of my videos about notebooks. This is the notes from the notebook, A History of Thinking on Paper by Roland Allen. Like I actually took notes from his book. So it's it's actually a nonfiction book. And then I started recently reading The Order of Time by Carlo Rovelli. He's one of my favorite authors. He's actually a theoretical physicist. So he talks a lot about time. And I wanted to go ahead and make notes on here about just things that are facts. I'm going to still keep them separated. So I think I'm going to put like a little, like one of these title things on there, just like nonfiction or something. Going to keep that one. Now, my sketchbook journal, like I was saying earlier, this book, when I started like in 2019, it's actually more like a self-reflection book. And I also haven't finished it, as you can tell. But this one, this sketch journal, I started it in 2025. And it hasn't even gotten that much entries. Like I'm not even halfway. You can just tell. Not even halfway. But this is more of a personal thing. Like I describe some of the things that I do, like, when we purchased our new car and we went out to visit. And these two things are not personal, but I just put them on here. But I am practicing like things that I have, things that I do, things that I've been studying, places where we went to, things that I ate, people that I met up with, like events that I do. This is more of a personal type of diary. This is not a daily journal or diary. This is like a journal whenever I feel like painting in watercolors or other mediums. And then this one is a like introspective book, like I reflect on myself. I could just combine the two. I don't even do self-introspection as much as I used to because I feel like I've already outgrown that part of myself. I did want to go ahead and maybe combine these two together. So the one that's like a self-reflection journal and a sketchbook, maybe combine those two together. Or my other option is to go ahead and add it to here. But this book is not really personal. Like I don't put anything personal in here. So I don't feel like it'll work. And I guess what I'm really trying to say is that I've been reviewing all my journals and I feel like there's a theme of like self-reflection and introspection, which are these two. And then there's all of these that have no introspection. These are just like information about facts, fictional emotions, fictional stories, quotes and stuff like that, which I probably will still include in this one, but I'm not really sure yet. So yeah, I feel like in a way, some things are a little bit more self-reflective and interpersonal. And then this ones are a little bit more like non-personal, just fact-based, just like information dump, just things that just get my attention. So things that distract me, entertainment. So that's where I've been at lately with that kind of like thinking about like, oh, maybe what should I do? I want my brain to like, I want each of these journals to serve a different part of my brain, like my creative side and then my like philosophical thinking, like altruistic, logical side to also be thinking. But yeah, sometimes these notebooks, like these journals, honestly can feel like a big chore, like a big to-do list. I don't feel like they're like a chore at all. But I do feel like they do require a lot of attention. And it's like having children. Like if you have 20 children, you have all these notebooks. Like how much time in a day do you have available for them? You know what I mean? I think I'm going to finish up the year, completing as many of these as I can and show you in the next couple of months what's going to be done. And maybe by the end of the year, I'll show you what was completed. I'm trying to give myself that goal also to finish 3 more projects that I have that I'm trying to complete, which are not related to journals. It's more like my art stuff, because that's something that I promised myself that I need to finish at least by this year. But yeah, there's just a lot going on. And so I just wanted to share that with y'all. So there is something that I wanted to ask you, like, what would you do in this instance? Like, what is the best approach for you or person that, has multiple journals? Like, what do you do? Like, I know some people have small journals where they don't overwhelm themselves with like a big size. Like, for instance, like this is probably an A6. I think it's like a 5x7 or something. I think it is. I'm not really sure. But these are not even that big, but it's still like the chunkiness of them can take up a lot of time. So for me, I don't like working in really small journals or really small sketchbooks unless I'm gonna take them somewhere else to be portable. But I just feel like, I'm not overwhelmed, but I do think like, do I really want to put a lot more time and effort into multiple things or just reduce it in a bit? I think that's exactly what I've been thinking this whole summer is to reduce a lot of my responsibilities because my kids are growing. I have more other responsibilities to attend to. And I want to be able to have the energy for everything. I really do. And that's really what it comes down to when I started thinking about all of my journals this year. Like, I really enjoy it. I'm having a good time with them. I don't complain about them at all. Like, that's the place that gives me a lot of joy. But as things change over time and I get older, like, where do I really want to put a lot of my effort, a lot of my energy, a lot of my time? Because I'm already reduced on time. So I always tend to be reflective about this. And so I was thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, well, one other thing that brought up this like reflection was my husband was asking me, he's like, we're running out of room. We need to make room for more things, that we have, or we need to get rid of things. So we both have been in that mindset of like, it's probably time to either downsize some things or to just like give them away and make room for space, not for more things, but for just white space, like empty space, and to make room for more energy to come in. So I think this is exactly where I'm at right now. Um, let's see how the end of the year happens. I think my goal at the end of at the end of the day is to finish these as much as I can. And I'm just enjoying the process, and I'm gonna try to do my best to finish it. And I will show you further along this year, like what happens and how it goes and whatnot. But anyways, thank you all for stopping by and let me know your journey. Like, how is your journaling journey going? Like, do you have multiple journals, or do you just like are very mindful of what size you get, how thick it is, or what you decide to put on it, and you don't move? Like, I'm the type of person that likes too much things, so I overwhelm myself with things because I like to explore everything. I get too excited at first, but then I notice over time, like, I should probably start one or two things at a time instead of starting multiple things. But my brain has ADHD or something, I don't know. And so I have to try different things before I decide to be like, this is the one that I'm sticking to. So, what about you? Like, what do you do to be able to balance all your journals? Or do you just like not have multiple journals and just focus on one at a time? Like, what is the process and what works for you? And let me know in the comments, and I will see you all in the next one. Ciao.